And we are live.
And we're unmuting in the Discord.
Good call, good call.
Gotta unmute in the Discord because it goes down in the Discord.
I think there's a song that says that.
Yes, it's the remix. It goes down in the Discord. Because
Announcements out.
Discord is DMs, just with everybody.
Public DMs.
Well, April 25th, another month gone by. Last AMA of April. I don't know where this time goes.
Time has been flying. I feel like ever since COVID, time just flies faster for some reason. It just feels like there's a lot more happening in the world.
Could be.
Announcements are out.
Announcements are out.
People have been alerted.
Cat is in his chair resting, beat up, trying to be like Cal, get all swole. Been in the gym. My old muscles don't like it. That first week is always the roughest week.
I know. It's always when you're super sore.
In fact, yeah, today marks day 7, so I'm actually getting workout number 2 in.
Nice. Yeah, how's your what is it called? It's like hard 70.
Oh, the hard 75. Yeah, it's 75 hard. It's going.
75 hard.
I got my water. So I got to drink again. Basically, 3 of these equals a gallon. So I'm already into my second one.
Nice.
I've been getting my reading done, 10 pages a day. So getting through books fast. Right now I'm reading Psycho-Cybernetics. And getting my workouts in. And no alcohol. So I'm what am I on? Day 9? Day 8? I don't know. So I have the app. Helps track it for me.
Is there a specific app for it, or it's just a random app?
They actually do have their own app. Man, I gotta put my phone on vibrate. I'm getting blown up right now.
Popular cat. Just drop the link to the threadcast if anyone wants to jump in there.
Yes, you got to threadcast it.
Yeah, so got a lot of UI updates that happened the past week. I'm just looking through the stuff that Eric sent us to cover today. So there's been a big change on the UI, a lot of big changes, but let's jump through some of the ones that happened this past Friday. So, in case you missed it, every Friday we do a UI update. That's our new dev schedule. We've been doing that, I think it's been almost exactly a month since we started doing that. So every Friday now there is a new release on the UI. And sometimes it's small stuff, sometimes it's big stuff. We're always kind of, multiple devs on multiple fronts, always kind of working on stuff. And then, we save them up for each Friday and then start releasing them. So last Friday, we released a huge update that had a lot of different features in it.
Huge update.
One of the biggest things, and this was a complaint that I saw kind of widespread on threads. This wasn't planned, but it was such a big problem that we had to kind of reprioritize and make it happen. We added a little toggle. There's actually 2 new toggles at the top. But one of them is to hide threads, including links. So threads kind of became, and this is kind of a larger issue, I think, on Hive, where people are just kind of out to, post promotion and self promote. And, we used to have, for example, on Leo Discord, we used to have a Discord channel within our server that was for post promotion. And most Hive Discords have that. And what ends up happening is everyone just jumps in and just literally pastes the link to their articles, right? Because at the end of the day, the Hive culture has been built around self-promotion to get more upvotes on your content, like upvote for upvote bots, however you want to look at it. There's been multiple iterations around this whole, get more upvotes on my content, because that's what you're financially incentivized to do on Hive, is just, do whatever you can to get more upvotes. So there's kind of been this huge thing on Twitter and then obviously on Threads, where people basically just go there just to link drop on their latest post and then they leave. And that's obviously, their goal is just to get more upvotes on whatever they're link dropping, which is, their own posts. But obviously especially for a platform like Threads, like on Twitter, it just gets lost in the noise and it doesn't really matter. But on Threads, it's still so new and there's still so few users that if you get, let's say that there's, I think there's roughly 200 daily active users and about 1,000 monthly active users. So let's say out of the 200 people every day, 100 of them are just link dropping and leaving. That's going to make the feed basically just blow up with all sorts of links and, shit that nobody really is engaging with. What I noticed is a lot of the people who were link dropping were literally just like, if you look through their threads, they would just show up on Threads at pretty much the same exact time every day, drop the link to their latest post and then leave. And they never replied to anybody, even if people replied to them. And, that's not very good for engagement, and it's not good for the feeds because it basically just populates the feeds with a bunch of people who aren't really there. So actually a lot of UIs on Hive have contacted us and said they want to be able to post. They basically want to be able to, like, when someone posts an article, it automatically posts their link onto Threads. So that's just this whole Hive culture around, like, let me get my link out everywhere. But not
so
actually be engaged.
They want like kind of like what, like those Discord channels that are designed for that, where like you post something and it automatically pops up in that Discord. They want that to happen on Threads.
Exactly.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. So we
hell
need
to the no.
It's nice because they think it's nice because we're getting more threads, which is true. We are getting more numbers, but those are not engaged people. They're not, when those threads get posted, they're not going to get replied to. That like defeats the whole purpose of Threads, which is all surrounded around, get more engagement, create like a real-time engagement channel, kind of like a mixture of Discord, Twitter, and the best of what Hive has to offer in terms of users. But the Hive culture is really centered around, how do I get more upvotes? That's what everyone is financially incentivized to do. So, to change this culture is going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot to change that link dropping culture. But one of the big things that we've done is now you have that toggle at the top where you can hide threads, including links. And it has like completely changed the feed on Threads. So like if you can obviously flip it on and off. That's why we put it where it is, because it's easy to, flip on and off. But if you have it on and you're not seeing threads with links, it has like cleaned up the feeds so much, and now you don't see all that spam, and it's kind of like pulled back the curtain and revealed who is actually active on Threads, and who's actually like being engaging and posting real shit.
So
not just
wait
links.
a second. If I'm on the Threads homepage right now, I'm seeing what are the things I'm seeing? Like, I know.
So at the top, do you see two like toggles that say one-click votes and hide threads, including links, right at the top?
You know what? Hold on. Yeah, I got to go to the homepage. I saw that earlier. Yeah, one-click votes and hide threads, including links. Oh yeah, look at that.
So you have them on or off?
I have them off right now.
So turn them both on, and so you turn them both on, and then you might have to refresh the page.
Probably.
I don't know if it'll auto do it for you.
So interesting.
So when you have hide threads with links on, it will no longer show. If anyone posts a thread with a link, it won't show it.
What's interesting though is that that's funny. Yeah. I mean, most links I don't want to see, but there's occasionally links I do want to see.
Right.
Like, like Taskmaster did a thread, come and join the Crypto Maniac conversation, and drop the Thread Storm link. So like he dropped a threads link in a thread. So that would be an instance where I'd want to see it. But more often than not, I probably don't want to see a bunch of links. So that's a nice
Right.
feature to have. And then that one-click auto vote, that's interesting. I'm too generous. Apparently, I vote threads at like 25%, but I also don't vote a ton of threads. So I like that one click.
Yeah, so
Way.
Nanzo said, I'm glad you guys created the toggle to filter links and tackling link spamming. My timeline looks saner now. Yeah, it's really cleaned up the timeline. And it's like, I mean, it's made it actually fun and, you know, more interesting to scroll through the feed and make your way through it and see people who are actually like live and engaged, which is not a whole lot of people. So it goes to show we need a lot more engaged users on threads. So not just people who are coming in and link dropping. But yeah, like you were saying, there are still some links you want to see. So you may have to toggle on and off sometimes. And you know, there's a lot of longer term solutions that I have in mind. This was kind of just a blunt way to say, you know, like we have a huge problem right now. We need to just bluntly take care of it quickly. So this was the solution for that. And in the future, probably pretty near term, it's not going to be like super far off. One of the next steps I have in mind is to where in the settings page you can whitelist certain users who you don't mind seeing links from. We can have either a global whitelist or we can have, you know, user based, like, you know, Mitch is on the UI and he's like, okay, I like seeing Taskmaster's links and a Nomad Souls links and Cal's links, so I'm going to whitelist those 3 people. And then everyone else's links won't show. So only links from those 3 people will show. No one else who's posted links will show when I have that toggled on. So there's a lot of customization that we can do on that front. We can also have a global whitelist where like people like Taskmaster and others are known to be engaging on the UI. So it's, you know, we can allow them to have links go through with that toggle on. Another idea I have, which I think is like probably my best idea, is to have some sort of verification check mark. Like, you know, that's been happening now on all Web 2 platforms. So you got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and stuff. They're all doing this, like pay $10 a month and get verified. But I have a feeling we can do something a lot more interesting with Leo power verification. So like if you have over a certain amount of Leo power, you can have a verification check mark on the UI. And if you have the verification check mark, then you can have your links go through when that toggle is on. So I have a lot of different ideas for how to tackle this whole link spamming thing. A lot of it comes down to, you know, we have to change the whole culture of like engagement on Hive. It's not just about getting people to upvote your posts. So it's going to be a long and tough battle, but I think it'll have a good long-term impact.
The toggle feature,
engagement.
Like that toggle feature is a huge step because I mean, it gives people control. They can just shut it off. You know what I mean? And just be like, I don't want to see links off. You know, I think that's big because, you know, as you've seen with Twitter, the whole verified and checkmark stuff it sounds great on paper, but seems to be a hot mess all the time. You know what I mean? And there's always people gaming it or whatever it is. So I like that in the end, I have a toggle switch where I can just basically shut it off. No links. But yeah,
Yep.
being able to whitelist is pretty cool. Like if I basically, because like honestly, I don't want to see links, but someone like you said, like Taskmaster, like yeah, like generally he shares links that I'm interested in. So like I can whitelist him, you know, and
Right.
whoever else. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just
That's
like
definitely
allowing you that, you know, and we've talked about that before, allowing your like customizable modular experience.
Yes. And here is the most important part about all of that. That all the features and all the bells and whistles are awesome. And it makes it, you know, a more catered user experience, which people appreciate, especially in this me society. But in the end, the UI performance has to, you know, be up to snuff and just functional. So it doesn't matter how many features we have. In the end, the importance is that I can go to the UI, I can do things, and it works. which I know keeps getting better and better. I've been on Threads today more than usual. I jumped on this morning, and then I've been on it now, and I found myself having to like literally like refresh to get out of like a thread comment and things like that. It's been kind of sticky and buggy for me.
Yeah, we there is an issue with app errors getting thrown since the last update. So we are working on fixing that. I know like the biggest time it happens is like after you publish a thread. Sometimes the UI has been kicking an app error, so we're working on that. Alpha UI things. But yeah, we're I mean the whole point of threads and like, you know, the kind of bigger, broader vision, if you take a step back with everything that we've been doing, is really like creating both a modular experience and like a highly engaging and different experience than has existed on Hive up until now. You know, there's a very singular experience that's been available from Hive for the last, you know, 6 years. And the whole point of the new UI is to completely change that. So, you know, I think it's gonna be a learning curve for everybody. But at the end of the day, if you're engaging, if you're replying, if you're upvoting people and just being like a good community member, like you're gonna get rewarded, and you're gonna be, you know, you're gonna find the experience to be rewarding in and of itself. But then also, you know, the whole idea is, you know, get Leo tokens to start flowing into threads a lot more over time. And I have been noticing that a lot more people are upvoting actively on threads. So yeah, just a whole scale culture shift, I think. And then the one-click voting, I saw a lot of different questions about that. So we added the hide links toggle. We also added one-click voting toggle at the top. So if you have that enabled, it's really cool, and I've really been enjoying it. It basically turns the upvote button into the same thing as the like button on Twitter. So what it does is you only have to click it once. So you click the little heart once instead of you click it and then it opens a vote slider and then you got to click it again. If you have it enabled, you just click the heart and then it upvotes automatically. And right now it's just globally set to 5%. And I know I saw Mitch jump in and ask with Eric, will we be able to personalize that one-click vote? Maybe being able to set it at 20% for those with low Leo power. Yeah, so we haven't released the settings page yet, but when we do, there's going to be a lot of different, like I said, the whole idea here is a modular experience and giving users as much capability as we can to customize and, you know, make the experience their own. And one of those settings is going to be to change that one-click vote setting. So you'll be able to say, you know, if you want it at 100% or you want it at 90% or 70% or 20% or 5% or 1%, you'll be able to do all of that from the settings page. And then the one-click vote will be the same every time. So that is coming. This was just kind of like the, you know, the early version of it, basically to test everything and pre-setting. We're still pre-settings page era, but I think the settings page will be live by this Friday, just in time for the May 1st release of the UI into production. So that's my little segue too. So the UI is going into production on May 1st. We've committed to that date, and there's a whole, like I've been saying this on AMAs, but there's a list of features that I basically created for, you know, what needs to be live for production, for the production UI. And like I said, I think at least 80% of that list is going to be done. There might be a few things missing by May 1st, but I just wanted to commit to the May 1st date because, you know, I don't want to drag this out in terms of going from alpha to production, because we could drag it out till December if we wanted to, because there's just so many different things that we want to do with the UI. But, you know, instead of dragging it out, we want to get the UI into production, get the Zeely campaign live, and really start pushing for more monthly active users. You know, and Eric and I were even talking about raising the 5,000 monthly active user goal, but we're going to keep it and hopefully, you know, crush it really early. And, you know, say like, you know, September, August rolls around and we're already at 5,000 monthly active users. That'll be great. So we're going to keep the 5,000 monthly active users goal. And then, if we hit it early, we'll start to recalibrate some stuff and say, we're doing a really amazing job and knocking it out of the park. And from there, we can recalibrate. But the goal is, our big picture goal is 5,000 monthly active users by December of this year. And I think we're well on our way to doing that. And the Zeely campaign goes live on April 30th. So a day before the UI goes into production, the Zeely campaign will go live. I know a lot of people already know about that. Something that Eric came up with, which I think is a really cool idea, is he created things called like side quests, basically. So it's almost like classes in a video game where, like, if you were you could pick from like 4 different classes in a video game, and then you could go down like kind of a specific type of path that's separate from all the other classes. So Eric came up with this idea to do kind of the same thing, but through the Zeely campaign to promote the UI. So like, if you're more like inclined to be like an artist, there's like an artist path that you can go down, and you can like, your Zeely quests will be more related to creating artwork and stuff like that. And then, if you're more of a writer, then there's like a writer path that you can go down, and your quest will be more tailored towards writing. I think it's a really cool idea. And then he also created the idea to have like final bosses at the end of those paths, so that, like, let's say that you're not going to win the entire Zeely campaign, which has all the big prizes, like, $10,000, and there's 200,000 Hive power delegation up for grabs. Let's say that you may not win that, right? Like, you're not gaining enough XP to win the big prizes. You can still win sub prizes within the class that you've chosen. So I think that's a really cool idea, that like, if like, you're obviously working hard to try to win the big prize, but in so doing that, you can also work towards a separate like side prize just for your class. So like, let's say it's kind of like if you were to think about like a wrestling competition or something, like you can win, in your weight class, and then you can win like an overall weight class. So, if you win like that, your own weight class, like let's say that you're doing the writing, side quests, you could win just the writing, final boss prize, but maybe you won't win the big prize, or maybe you'll win both. Like, I think there's like a lot of really cool like customization that he's put into that. And I know he's put like a ridiculous amount of time into those quests. So it's basically like this whole video game that he's created, and it's all centered around doing quests that are promoting LeoFinance and helping us get more monthly active users. So I think it's super cool. And if you're not on the Zeely campaign yet, you can already get started with it. And I think one of the first quests is to invite one other person to the Zeely campaign. So if you're not on it yet, go join the Zeely campaign. I'm sure Eric will drop a link somewhere for us to promote. And you can join the Zeely campaign, and then you can invite your first person and kind of start on the journey. And then on April 30th, it'll go like fully live. And I think there's a couple hundred people already in there. So let's try to get it to a couple thousand.
Yes, and I'm going to drop a invite link to the Discord channel in the recap post.
Nice. Yeah, and Eric wanted me to mention that we were working with They Call Me Dan, and he has graciously provided an extra prize pool to the $10,000 that's up for grabs. So there's a total, I think he's doing 100,000 Hive power, and then we're doing another 100,000 to match it. So in addition to the $10,000 prize pool that is available through the Zeely campaign, we're adding in now a 200,000 Hive power delegation. So not one delegation, but I think it'll be split up a little bit. But that's up for grabs too. So we're just adding to that prize pool, and it's very possible that prize pool will get added to in other ways as well. So it's definitely worth your while to be in the Zeely campaign and be active.
You said, what is that? They Call Me Dan is doing that delegation?
Yeah, he's doing 100,000 Hive power, and then we are matching it.
Nice.
Just reading through the thread cast. Nonzo wants to see a feature where when you start writing at someone, it'll fill it in with suggestions. That is definitely possible. We actually have that already with the search feature, so we could just, that'd probably be pretty easy to add into threads directly. So I will bookmark that thread.
Nice little perk. A lot of good things. We have basically till the end of this week for the end of this month, and that gives us, you know, 5 more days to pump up the monthly active user number. So bring the new folk, bring the
100%.
hivers,
100%.
bring the normies. Tell them you found
And
crypto Twitter.
100%. And another feature that I kind of skipped over, but this one's really cool. It was another one of Eric's ideas. You know, he's the idea man these days. When you hover over, it was Eric's idea and the dev's idea. The dev just kind of snuck it in with the update, and then Eric came up with all the images and everything, and the roles. So these roles actually match Discord, the Discord roles for Leo Power Holdings, but the UI obviously does it all automatically. It can see your current Leo Power and then calculate it. One thing that we need to fix on this is that it's not showing delegated Leo, like it's not factoring in if you have delegated Leo, but it will soon in the Sooniverse. But if you are on desktop and you hover over anyone's username on threads, it'll actually show you, like, it'll show you their profile picture, their username, it'll show you their bio, and then below that it'll show you their role in the community, and their role is based on how much Leo power they have. So like I shared a screenshot. If you hover over Eric on the UI, it'll show you that he's got 90,000 Leo power, which I know he actually has more, but like I said, the delegations aren't factored in yet. But it'll show you how much Leo power he has. And since he has 90,000, it shows you his role, which is leader of the pack. Obviously, if it had delegations factored in, I think, you know, he's got well over 100,000 Leo power. So it'll be Apex Lion, which is the highest role. But I think this is really cool. And it like goes, it's basically version 1 in a longer journey that we have in mind for gamifying the Leo UI. So a lot of the future features of the Leo UI, you know, are things that I keep talking about, which is like deepening that engagement and making the experience like really supercharging the experience and giving something that I think should have been on Hive this whole time, but hasn't been, you know, for a lot of different reasons. But, you know, one big one is just the technology. Like the technology for threads has taken us so long to build. But this whole roles thing is like really V1 in like this longer idea of gamification. So we're going to be adding a lot of different gamification features. And a big one that we've talked about is like NFTs and having NFTs on the UI and allowing NFTs to give you more access to certain features that people without those NFTs don't have. In addition to that, things like Leo Power giving you more access to other features along the same lines. So, you know, like I was just talking about the filtering out links and then giving people a verification check mark if they're over a certain amount of Leo power. So think about how like Twitter and Facebook have gone this route of like charging people $8 a month to verify themselves as a human on, you know, Twitter, for example. Leo, like we have, that's Web 2, right? Like they're lagging behind in so many different ways in terms of like verification and, you know, unique accounts and immutability. They don't have access to a lot of the tech that a Web3 platform has access to. So the fact that we're built on Hive means that we all have wallets, right? And you have an amount of Leo power, and the whole kind of LeoVerse is centered around Leo power and you know, staking Leo and you know, gaining more access and utility within the community. And because of this, all these connections kind of converging, you could see a lot of features getting added. Like I was saying about the links, where you get like verified if you have, let's say if you have over 10,000 Leo power, you get verified on LeoFinance, and that means that your links actually can go through. But if you're not verified, then your links maybe get posted, but they won't get shown in the feeds unless someone looks specifically for you. And if you want your links to show up in the feed, you got to buy 10,000 Leo power and stake it. There's a lot of really cool ideas I have in mind for that. And I think we're just kind of on the verge of releasing all that stuff. And like I said, this hover over feature is just kind of like a little teaser into what we're planning with all this stuff. And Time Travelers asked, any option to have the opportunity to store and display NFTs on the Leo wallet? So it's kind of leading into like all of these ideas. Is we're going to have NFTs on the UI, and we're going to have a lot of gamification features where, like, when you make your 1000th thread, you get an NFT that says you've made 1,000 threads, and that NFT gets added to your wallet. And then on the UI, for example, you can choose like 3 NFT badges that you want to display next to your name. And maybe you choose that one as one of your NFT badges, or maybe you choose another one where it's like you've earned, 100,000 Leo from all of your posts and threads. And then you display that badge. Or, we ran a LPUD competition, I think back in like November, where you could like slay the dragon and get a dragon NFT. So anyone who did that back in November could get a dragon NFT, and then that NFT they can choose as one of their 3 badges to display next to their name on threads. And now, when you see them thread, you immediately know, oh, they have the dragon NFT. So they're kind of like an OG. So there's all sorts of like really cool gamification features that we're launching on the UI. And to take that step back again and say, what's the broader vision here? What is the point of all of this? Is that we're creating like the ultimate like integrated Web3 experience, with all sorts of features of gamification, NFTs, Leo power. And it's all centered around, staking Leo and having a role in the community and being active and engaging. I just think it's really like this step forward toward the long-term vision that I've had for LeoFinance, since the beginning, which is, Leo is not just a holding company. I wrote an article like 2 years ago about that. But Leo is really like the utility center of this Web3 experience. And there's just so many ideas that we have as a team to like make that a reality. Another one, just because I wanted to share this, but another one is like, we've talked about adding the Substack features, which I'm really excited about, where you can launch, like, say that Mitch wants to launch a paid newsletter, and you can pay like $5 a month in Leo to Mitch, and in exchange you get like access to like a private channel of like his newsletters, exactly how Substack works. For example,
yes.
We could make that pay the cat. For example, we could make that so you can only launch a newsletter once you have 10,000 Leo power staked. So if you have to reach that role in order to unlock that feature. So there's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
There's going to be, just imagine a future, and this is, where we're headed. Imagine a future where there's hundreds of features on the UI that you can only access when you reach a certain amount of Leo power and have that certain role in the community.
I definitely like that, having that threshold, if you want to do something like that, where you have, paid for content, so to speak, but in order to have that ability, you need to hold at least 10,000 Leo power.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's going to be all sorts of things, or maybe like, we have all sorts of features in mind. Like, one is to have like pinned threads. So maybe if you have over 100,000 Leo power, which makes you an Apex Lion, or is it 150,000? Eric will correct that for me. It's either 100 or 150. But if it's over 100 or 150 and you're an Apex Lion, maybe once a month you can have one of your threads get pinned. It's 150. So if you're over 150,000 Leo power, you're an Apex Lion. And if you're an Apex Lion, you can have one of your threads get pinned, say once a month or something. There's like, I've got hundreds of these written down, all sorts of features. And this leads me into one of the bullet points that Eric gave me to cover. We have all these ideas for, roles, both on the Leo UI and in Discord. But we want to hear from all of you guys with more suggestions. Like, if you're an apex lion, or if you're a leader of the pack, or if you're a lion or a cub, what are some roles, what are some features that we could give to these roles that you guys would get excited about? And if you have any, drop them either in Discord or on the Threadcast. On the Threadcast is probably the best. Put it on chain. But yeah, we have all these ideas for ranks and, achievements and stuff. So if you have any ideas of things that you'd like to see, of features, of, anything really, just drop ideas and we'll start collecting them. But like I said, I think there's this bigger picture here, and this vision that we've had for Leo and Leo Power, and it's finally possible now with the new UI to do the things that we want to do. Drop us those ideas. And then another big point is, we talked about how we had that like private meeting with a couple of us, Nifty, Mitch, me, Eric, and Taskmaster a few weeks ago. And we were talking about, one of our big things that we talked about is like, what's the point of people having Leo? What's the utility of having Leo Power? And, what purpose can we give to all of this stuff? And I think, there's ad revenue, there's all these other things, all these like financial metrics, but I think a big one is, I like your GIF. A big one is, how can we create like community leverage and like attention leverage and, basically like pride in having Leo Power? Like, how do you create something that's a little bit more intangible than like just a financial metric, where like if you have 100,000 Leo Power, you're making 15% APR, 25% APR. Like, yeah, that's awesome, and we're gonna have that too. But I think that there's like, why do people own a Rolex? Why do people want to drive a nice car? Why do people want a big house? Like, there's a lot of like societal incentivization that happens in the real world. And how can we kind of drive that into Leo Power and, really turn the community and the, the LeoFinance like Web3 platform into like a lot more of like its own society, with its own rules, with its own, reasons to do, X, Y, and Z, reasons to have Leo Power, reasons to have power within the community, and influence within the community. So this is all like a very circular ecosystem. And I think a lot of those ideas have kind of started to seep through. And like I said, roles are just like V1, which I think is what makes it so exciting, is just to see that is even coming. I'm just excited about what the future holds for Leo Power.
Indeed. Well, crypto in general obviously affects what happens with Leo to an extent. So we've seen some fun stuff in the news of late. I know Nifty had posted a link for us with apparently Coinbase is flipping the script and suing the SEC.
Yep, they are. So I think a lot of us talked about that SEC meeting, the hearing that with Gary Gensler, where people were basically grilling Gensler about the SEC and the actions that he's taken, and basically questioning him and questioning his ability to do his job. Because his job is not to just crack down on everything. Like, his job is to protect investors. His job is to create a fair environment for competition. His job is not to stifle innovation and cause a mass exodus out of the US for companies like Coinbase and others. That's not his job description, but that's the position he's taken. He has basically created and this is like a driving point. He's created a very uncertain environment for companies like Coinbase. Coinbase went through all of the steps. They went through all the procedures to become a publicly traded company, to have all of the licenses that they needed. They've been around for a really long time. They've been based in the US. They've had connections with regulators. And then suddenly you get this guy, Gary Gensler, coming in, and now, regulatory frameworks are completely uncertain. He's calling Coinbase out for so many different things. They're getting Wells notices. He can't even answer if he thinks Ethereum is a security or not, when directly asked about it. He's created such an uncertain environment where a company that has gone through this is not like FTX, which was based out of the Bahamas, or Binance, which is has like their US branch, but they're really based internationally. It's not like that type of situation. This is a publicly traded company, Coinbase, and the fact that they are being hit so hard by regulation all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, is pretty wild. And then when you start diving deeper and seeing that like Gensler had connections to FTX and all of this other stuff, it's like a really bad look for regulation, and it's a really bad look for innovation in the US. So I'm not surprised that Coinbase is suing the SEC. I also wouldn't be surprised if Coinbase announced that they're taking a lot of their operations overseas.
I mean,
And
they
I
already
think
started,
that
they already, I mean, put themselves in a position at least to start that. Didn't they file, where was it?
they filed.
Bahamas, Bermuda? I don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember. But I mean, like, just think about how this aligns with, the US principle of being, innovation, individualistic, capitalistic. Like, this is not a good look. So I hope that Coinbase kind of takes a stand against the SEC. I know that we all have our own issues with Coinbase. If you're a heavy crypto user and you've been in the industry for a while, then you probably have certain things that you don't like about Coinbase. But one thing that I do like is that they have had a pretty decent stance in terms of, working closely with regulators and not just being like, oh, we fight the regulators, kind of like how some other crypto companies are. Coinbase has been, they followed their paces and they did the right things, and they, filed the right files that they needed to do, and they became a publicly traded company. And, the fact that they went through all of that scrutiny and then still on the other side have, uncertainty with regulators is wild. So, despite maybe not liking Coinbase a whole lot, I still would definitely support them, kind of fighting back against the SEC a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's funny that, like, I was just glancing at the article real quick. They're basically filing a lawsuit essentially for the SEC to give them a yes or a no, like in regards to like the regulatory framework and, the Wells notice and stuff like that. It's like, that's great. Tell us what the F, like,
Right.
yes, no, like, we can't do anything if you don't give us any direction.
Exactly.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even asking for them to rule in a certain way. They're literally just asking, make a decision. They're not saying we want you to do this or this. It's literally just make a decision. But I think if you watch that hearing with Gary Gensler, you're going to know that that's probably not coming. He doesn't seem very good at making decisions.
I don't know how he got that job to begin with. It's hilarious. I really like.
And then one of my favorite points of that hearing was that one of the people asking the questions was he asked Gensler, have you ever owned any digital assets? And then, obviously Gary Gensler goes, well, my bank account is digital and I own those assets. And then, he's like, no, have you owned digital crypto assets? And then, he obviously said something else snarky. And then finally, after like being asked 3 or 4 times, he said, no, I have never owned any Bitcoin, Ethereum, or digital asset of that nature. And but then the guy was like, so you haven't owned any digital assets, but you taught a course on digital assets and owning them and using them. And Gary Gensler was like, yeah, basically.
I mean, that sounds about
like
right.
Hilarious.
That
it was hilarious.
Sounds like, and this is why, and this has been, researched thoroughly many times over the years. And it talks about, how all these people in these governmental economic positions of power most of them have never even been in real world business. They are
Right.
literally just academics for life. And then they're making all these decisions that impact how business functions in America. And they've never actually even owned a business, built a business, run a business. Like it's like something like 90%. I forget what the stat was. It's stupid. So, and I think it was, trying to remember which book it was, but they were just talking about how they weren't even really hating on it. They were just talking about how you need to have a balance. And it's fine to have academia involved, but you also need the opposite. You need the entrepreneur, you need the real world business person. Like, even if it's doesn't even have to be 50-50, but that influence needs to be there. That viewpoint needs to be there. Otherwise you're essentially getting decisions made through a single lens, which often isn't the most efficient or the best for decision making.
Yeah. Well, the ironic thing is, like, especially with these academics and stuff, what you're basically saying is they need to be educated and informed. That's the ironic part, is that they've gone through all this proper formal education, but they, it's like if you went to culinary school, but you just read books about cooking and you've never, touched a stove. It's like, how are you, what level of skill are you actually at if you've only heard about things but never used anything? I think it should be mandatory that if you are making frameworks about anything, you should have tried whatever you're making a framework about. Like if you're changing what textbooks are read in school, you should have read those textbooks before you change them. Or if you're changing rules about digital assets, you should have used digital assets before you make the frameworks. Or if you're making rules about, stocks, you should have probably bought and sold a stock at some point. It's like pretty obvious that, and kind of stupid that we even have to say that.
Yep. Sometimes the obvious isn't so obvious for some reason.
Yeah. So speaking of things that we talk about that we don't know anything about, it's airdrop season. And there's a lot of airdrops happening. And honestly, I have not been very active on the airdrop front. I never really was. The biggest airdrop I ever got was the Uniswap airdrop. And, kind of tying into what we were just talking about, I was a heavy user of Uniswap in the early days because I obviously, as soon as I saw DeFi, I got very obsessed with it. But as far as these other airdrops, I have not been very active on this stuff. And, I have been watching, some of this ZK stuff from afar, but I haven't really been a user of it. So I know that there's a bunch of airdrops and new blockchains and side chains and layer twos that are happening right now, kind of like airdrop, this whole airdrop season before the summer. But I know we were talking pre-show that neither of us are really too active on that front.
No, I always plan on doing it, and I don't. Like, I planned on, with Arbitrum, I planned on getting involved in that and I just never got around to it. And I know some people in the LeoFinance community did. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're willing to do the research and spend the time, I don't know how this year is looking, but I remember back in like 2021, that's what some people did full time. So all they did was essentially chase airdrops and like literally made like 6 figures that year.
Yeah.
Crazy. So sometimes, I think about that. I'm like, why am I working harder instead of smarter? I should probably just chase airdrops to supplement my income. I mean, heck.
Be a airdrop chaser, like a storm chaser.
Right. You just, as soon as they get them, you sell them. I mean, hell, even if you pick up an extra, whatever, 10, 20 grand, it's probably worth the time. I'm actually, interested. What caught my eye is and we'll hold on to wrap that up. PS, anyone knows any airdrops going on, feel free to drop information in Discord or thread about it, whatever.
Well, one thing I've always wanted on LeoFinance, and this was going back to even when it was just posts, but now that we've got posts and threads, I feel like it should be even easier, is more like Leo Alpha stuff. Like, share the alpha with the community. If you know about an airdrop and you can write like a quick, 10 thread storm about how to get said airdrop, with minimal risk, or maybe
Yes.
outline the risks and, stuff like that. That's what LeoFinance is all about. Share the alpha, share the research that you do, and, get rewarded on Leo, not just in terms of, Leo and Hive upvotes, but actually just in terms of like clout on the platform.
Indeed.
I would love to see
I mean,
more
hell.
Leo alpha initiatives.
The Red Storm with the airdrop tag at a minimum. Fine, Cat, the airdrops. Please, sir. When, sir?
He'll pay you $1 million per airdrop.
And yes, apparently. $1 million in Lassie cash. Oh, I'm sorry, I had to. Sorry, not sorry. That's recorded too. Probably shouldn't have said that. It's funny in the chats. So yeah, the other thing I was looking at was the Visa news. And my first thought was that thread that the dude from Visa put out. We need to get him to, well, I should say tweet. We need to get him to put that on LeoFinance. We need the head of Visa threading. So apparently they announced we have an ambitious crypto product roadmap and just opened a few recs for senior software engineers to help us drive mainstream adoption of public blockchain networks and stablecoin payments. So like they said, public blockchain networks and stablecoin payments. So that's sounding like, they're gearing up to accept like Tether, USDC, and obviously work with the Ethereum blockchain at a minimum.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to start working with stable coins and start doing payment processing for it, which I think is pretty obvious. I know a lot of people kind of, tying in with our stuff about Gary Gensler, the SEC, and Coinbase, but a lot of, regulatory uncertainty has caused people to wonder if, if there's really a path to like mainstream crypto adoption in the US. I think, if you're deep in the industry, which I think most of us that are here live are, then you probably still firmly believe that this technology is kind of inevitable, kind of like the internet. And, knowing that it's inevitable, like regulation will change, the people in charge will change, hopefully Gary Gensler gets the boot. And then, things like, companies like Visa are still going to try to adopt crypto. I mean, you just have to remember that this is a capitalistic society. These companies are out to make a profit, and, crypto is a huge profit center, huge potential profit center for a lot of these companies. So, I think it's pretty obvious that these companies are still going to be trying to push towards adopting this tech, because if it's not Visa, it's going to be Stripe or any other company, or Square. And it's good to see that the adoption is still kind of happening, although it may be a little bit less noisy now with all this regulatory stuff. But I still, I bet you that a lot of companies, it's not like they went around and shut down their crypto divisions. I bet you anything that they still have them open. They just don't talk about it as publicly as they might have before. But I bet you anything that they're still working on it. Yeah, I mean, I saw Flynn's comment on let's put all transactions on public ledger so that we can see exactly where you're spending money. I mean, if you really think about it, everything's going digital anyways. Cash has been going away for a long time. It's been on its way out, in terms of like physical cash paying for stuff. Your bank account is all digital. Most people are, I don't know what the percentage is, but I know that it's growing. The percentage of money that is like consumer money that is spent on goods and services through a credit card or debit card rather than cash has only been increasing. It's all it's not public, but it's all accessible data and digital data to, governments, companies anyways, right? Like if you buy something right now on Amazon, suddenly you see like related ads on Facebook, right? All these companies are sharing data with each other. They're all sharing it. It's, when you're buying stuff online, it's all being logged somewhere. So if it's going to be logged anywhere, why not just have it logged on a blockchain? Maybe it makes it easier to go through the data, or maybe it makes the data so easily accessible that it loses its value, right? Because like one thing about democratizing information or data is that when it becomes fully publicly available, it starts to lose its value because now everyone has access to it. You're one of those people that uses cash at a grocery store, no card or anything. The main thing is that data can be more easily sold too. Yeah, but if data can be more easily sold, then it will, like I said, it'll lose its value and not be as, maybe it doesn't even have to be sold at that point. Maybe it's just freely accessible. And then once it's freely accessible, it loses a lot of its value. But yeah, I mean, if you're one of the people that uses cash at a grocery store still, I have a feeling, knowing human nature, that there's still going to be a way for you to privately conduct transactions. There's always a way, and humans always find a way. So, I'm not one of those people. I don't really, I don't think it really matters if the government or companies, know that I bought bananas at the grocery store and then try to sell me, different bananas or something when I go on Facebook, or anything like that. But humans always find a way to do what they want at the end of the day. So yeah, I think once the data is as accessible as we're talking about, it loses its value, just because every company starts to advertise, then your mind kind of shuts down to advertisements in general. Actually, we were talking pre-show that Mitch didn't even notice that there were Coinzilla ads on the website, probably because his brain has just gotten so used to seeing Coinzilla that he just doesn't really think about it anymore.
I noticed, but I didn't register. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I did see that pop up. I'm like, they weren't there the whole time. I'm used to seeing them, I guess, on Legacy LeoFinance, where I still spend a lot of time, and posting the recap, which will be the last time I get to do this, because come next Tuesday, it will be May 2nd, and we'll have officially launched. So that'll be interesting too, because we'll be essentially, about a day, if that, into launch. So I'm sure there'll be all the things to talk about.
All of the things. Hopefully not a lot of bugs, but all
live. Well, it'll be the live alpha. AMA won't stand for Ask Me Anything. It'll be alpha me anything.
One question I wanted to hit, because I saw a lot of people asking about it. Bitcoin Flood asks, when Leo adds smart contract go live, is there a plan yet as to how the months before ad revenue will be cashed in quotes? Will it be one large lump sum or spread out evenly? It will be spread out. We've talked about the new ads contract a few times. I think there was a clip that was just posted through at LeoFinance about the ads. And then we've been talking about the last couple of AMAs too. But there's been a lot of updates to the ad program. And like we were just talking about, ads just went live last Friday on the Alpha UI. We have some tweaks to do. It's very imperfect right now. The ads are actually supposed to show like in line with content. So right now it's just showing at the top because there's a bug. But eventually when we fix it, it's going to be like every 6 threads or something, you'll see that ad and it'll kind of be mixed in. We're also working with new ad partners. So you're going to start seeing that Coinzilla banner actually starts to rotate and have different ad partners. Longer term, there's going to be a section of the UI where, if you want to launch an ad or another company wants to come in and launch an ad, it's going to look like Facebook's marketplace, where you can like add an image and then add text and then add a body and set a budget and set a time. So you can be like, I want to spend $10 a day for 30 days and have an ad on Leo, and you'll be able to do that. And then that will go into the smart contract. And then, like I've said, the smart contract handles all of the ad revenue, and it buys Leo and then adds it to Leo Power. So it's going to be very cool to see that go live. But yeah, the previous ad revenue has basically just been sitting in that contract.
That's going to be awesome when that goes live. I'll probably have some fun with it, even though I don't know that I have even anything specific that I want to market, but I'll probably still do a little test run just for the fun of it.
Well, see, that's one of the things is like you have clout in the Leo community, right? So everyone can recognize your name. So, you come out with an ebook and you want to market it. You spend $10 a day to market it to the Leo community. Everyone sees, oh, it's Scaredy Cat Guide. I recognize that name.
I
And then
already
they
got
click
the
it.
book.
There's their book. And then they click it, buy, Scaredy Cat's Guide to knowing what the heck Bitcoin is. And then now you make money on that. And then maybe you make more than you spent on ads. And now you got a profitable business.
Buy it for your normie friends, because anyone that's on LeoFinance already probably knows everything in this book because it's the newbie guide. So buy it for your normie friends. So when they ask you about crypto, you don't pull your hair out because they actually understand what a blockchain is and what a smart contract is.
Buy it now, live on
Right.
Amazon.
But yeah, no, it's honestly like if I run an ad for shits and giggles, I'll probably literally just promote like the book or something like that, just because you need to have something you're promoting.
Right.
But yeah, cool deal. Yeah, looking forward to that. The recap post is up. I dropped the
Vote the
link
cat.
in
Vote the
the
cat.
Leo TV chat. And TikTok, May 1st is Monday. So the big day is less than a week away. And this time next week, I'm sure that's what all the chatter will be about. And
Yep.
I'm sure Cal will probably be looking like he hasn't slept.
Probably looking even worse than I do now.
So it's a good thing he's young. Yeah, man, that's gonna be interesting. Next week, I'll be on the new UI
Yeah, you'll have
doing
to start playing around with it. I like
writing the
it so much
recap.
better.
I mean, obviously I thread from there. I hate threading from the legacy UI. I thread from the new UI. But yeah, I mean, it's easy. You just hit publish and then it brings you to the things. It all looks like it makes sense. The tagging might not, maybe. Interesting. Yeah, that's the only thing that's throwing me. I see there's a couple tags I can click, but I don't know how you add more. Oh, there
You
you go.
just
There's a
type
little
them and hit
box.
enter.
Boom. Oh yeah, I didn't realize that little box that's got it like pre-filled. Cool. Yep. So, and then the threadcast has I lost it. I was in the threadcast.
Oh, I posted the link for you too in there
Yeah, I remember.
to your post.
Threadcast, there we go. Yeah, we had some decent action in here.
Oh, yeah.
Per
Yeah,
the
Threads is
usual.
definitely a little bit quieter since the link stuff, but I think now we've pulled back the curtain and you can see a lot more actual users saying actual things.
I like that people asking questions in the threadcast, so that's cool that you were able to answer some of them. What do we got?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Nonzo said spends about an hour or two on researching airdrops.
Oh, nice. Post some posts about it.
I will vote that. Yes, post them, please, sir. Bring the airdrops. All right. Well, we will see you all next week with the new live UI.
New UI. No more saying when UI. It'll be
No more
live.
when.
Only
Live beta.
No more whens, only soons.
So be ready to blow up the bug report Discord channel. Don't post your bugs in general if you want them to be addressed. Drop a bug report under the support center channels on Discord.
100%.
Cool.
Sweet. We'll see you guys in May next Tuesday.
That is correct.
Have a good weekend.
Indeed. Spread the word.
Word is the bird.
Latest.